Oscar was very much a crybaby pants, wasn't he?
Oh my goodness me. It's not fair.
Can we do that again, but where I win?
Papaya rules.
It wasn't Max having a poor start, it was George just having an absolute banger. I think maybe something clicked for Lando that like, oh, this is it. It could be my last chance.
He is on my list. He is. He loses his cool with Lewis Hamilton. He cannot. He cannot. Hello there, and welcome back to the Zero Credentials F1 podcast. We are here to talk about the Singapore Grand Prix and whether, I think, Nelly, Papaya rules are finished. Have the rules of engagement changed? That is the big question in what was ultimately a fairly dull race.
Dull. Interesting result, dull race.
Yeah, let's roll the intro, and then we will get into it. One thing I did say beforehand was that the Singapore Grand Prix is not one of my favourite races, and that played out
it lived up
to a T, unfortunately. I think Singapore, Baku, Monaco are by far the worst races of the year. And we've just had two of them in a row, and they were both a little bit dry, would you say?
I need something to reinvigorate my F1 buzz because it's been killed in the past couple of weeks with these two. But it wasn't a classic, was it? It was pretty dull. Yeah,
there wasn't. I think. Yeah, I actually can't remember too many highlights of the race after turn one, essentially.
No, it was all of the permeations that actually off track and everything else. Obviously, the Papaya rules incidents that we'll speak about, and then a nice win for George. But it was more the implications of the race rather than the race itself.
Yeah, I thought qualifying was pretty exciting.
It was decent. Seeing George come there, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely nailed it, didn't he? Let's start, though, because there is plenty to talk about despite the quite dry race. Let's start with, I've made some notes on the phone here. There's two things about McLaren that I want to talk about. Firstly, they have now won the Constructors' title for a second year in a row. I've got to say, though, right, I don't care about the Constructors' titles whatsoever.
No, I literally couldn't care less. I know it's great for their sponsors and everything else, but it's all about the Drivers' Championship for me.
Me too.
Couldn't care. I feel like giving them a golf clap, but that's about it. Like, well done.
Like they've potted a ball in snooker.
Yeah, it's like It's not that impressive, but I mean, give them the dues.
Should we go? Let's go all mainstream a minute. And mainstream media F1. Go on, give them their dues.
I'm giving them their dues because it was less than 5 seasons ago they were propping up the rest of the grid. They were right at the back. Didn't have a clue how that car was operating. I was hoping that they were looking for the new regulations and keeping their powder dry, but a lot of these racing teams can't afford to do that. They can't afford to say, right, we've got a 5-year vision. They need a 2-year vision. They need something done. But to come from absolutely nowhere, I mean, we're used to them in the 80s and the early 90s absolutely dominating the sport, but that went away for a very, very long time. And it's nice that they're back, especially in an era dominated by Mercedes and Red Bull, and do you know what? That's not easy to do, and especially given the financial constraints relatively that they've had.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think they've done really well. 2 in a row. It's a big deal. McLaren have always been my favourite team, and continue to be. So I am pleased for them. They've been killing our buzz a little bit though with Papaya rules, and into turn 1, or no, turn 3 maybe, turn 2 and 3. Lando Norris finally grew a pair.
He became a racing driver. We witnessed the birth of a racing driver.
That's it.
There was a gap there and he took it. That old adage of if you're no longer looking for a gap, you're no longer a racer. And
I love
yeah,
his
he got his
excuse
elbows
afterwards.
out.
His excuse afterwards that the track was slippery and Max gave him a little tap. I'm like, no, Lando, just own that shit. Just own it.
Yeah. I took my part of the track. I'm ahead of him. What's he going to do about it? And to be fair, he clipped them both, didn't he, in that little incident? He lost his front wing end plate, or it was severely distorted, but stayed on for the rest of the race.
Do they do anything? Because people are always losing them, and it doesn't seem to affect performance at all.
I think it's purely aesthetic. It doesn't look as pretty as it used to.
Yeah.
But they seem to always manage. It doesn't seem to be like end of race for them. They can always go around, and every now and again you'll see them. If it is hanging off a bit, they'll go in for a pit stop, and instead of changing the front wing, some guy, his job will be to rip off the front end for the end plate of the front wing. And it doesn't seem to do much, but it was nice to see his elbows out. It was nice to see him going really for something and taking a chance. And
so true.
Yeah, and I mean, oh God, I'm just going to set the Antipodeans off again, but Oscar was very much a crybaby piss pants, wasn't he?
Oh my goodness me!
I'm not having that.
I was a little bit embarrassed for him, if I'm honest. It's any time in some sort of sporting situation where you hear someone say it's not fair. He's like, well,
can we do that again? Fair. But where I win,
Papaya rules.
But happily, you also witnessed on that turn the end of Papaya rules, the death of Papaya rules.
Do you think that's what it is?
Yeah. Well, whether the teams say so or not, when they get into that sort of close quarters action again in the future, they're not going to be thinking, I wonder what the team wants to do in this situation. They're going to be looking after themselves. So there'll be any consideration of the wider team dynamics is now gone. They will look after themselves in that situation.
Yeah, I think you're right, and rightly so. And I was wondering actually that we're getting to the tail end of the season. The teams must be starting to have an idea of what is happening next year. Who, like, if they've got a good engine, if they've got a good aero package and chassis and stuff, they must be doing a lot of work on that now. Yeah. McLaren particularly. And say, for example, McLaren think, I'm not sure we're going to be there next year. And then you've got these two young drivers who've never won a championship before thinking, shit, this is my chance.
Yeah.
This is my chance to have that red badge in the paddock around my neck with the likes of Jenson Button and Nico Rosberg, and you sort of one-time winners. Damon Hill, they're big deals in and around F1.
One day I want to be doing the grid walk with Martin Brundle.
Exactly. You want to be part of that pack, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And these opportunities don't come around very often, especially for these two, I think.
No. I mean, I think maybe something clicked for Lando that, like, oh, this is it. This is genuinely my last... it could be my last chance because it is so fleeting, and who knows with the rule changes again next year, who's going to start emerging out front again. And there was that event as well, and then you saw it continue as well, where Lando had to sort of correct himself because they said, we're looking to pit you both. Is it okay if Oscar goes first? And he went, yeah. Then he went, no, don't you fucking dare. I want it.
It's like he's got to, like, overcome his natural instinct to be a nice guy.
To be a nice guy, yeah.
And he's got to think, oh, no, shit, it's all about me.
Yeah, he's got to think about it. He's got to think about it, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Nobody will remember in 50 years' time that they were friends.
No.
They'll just remember nobody will remember the person who never got the F1 title out of the team. They'll just be their teammate, yeah.
Hardly anyone remembers Felipe Massa.
Who?
Another crybaby.
And Donny Coulthard.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope that now that McLaren have won the championship, the drivers are just off the leash a little bit. Papaya rules go out the window because they've been shit from day one. Let them go at it. Let them have a bit of wheel to wheel. If they take each other out now, they take each other out. The championship's won.
That's their problem then, isn't it? It's not the team's problem so much. They've won the bit the sponsorship package will pay out on in a big way.
Yeah, I mean, on that incident as well, I think if that hadn't been between two teammates, there wouldn't have been any question. There is anything other than a lap,
all day long. Yeah.
Lap one racing incident. Totally.
All day long. All day long.
Yeah, so that's McLaren. I think we've said enough on that. Let's move on to my second note was that it was a generally rubbish race. I think we've talked about that as well. But let's move on to George Russell.
No, but anyone getting anywhere close to the rear wing, well, within a second and a half of the rear wing of the car in front, and then their car lost all performance, and they just had to sit there and then back off a bit. It killed it.
I mean, I think George Russell knew that right from the beginning because Max couldn't get close to him, and he just started pulling away. And Max obviously started on the soft tyres when everyone else was around him was on mediums. I thought that was a fair enough little strategy to try and jump George at the start, but George is a good starter.
He started incredibly well. I actually before the replay, I thought Max had a really poor start. It wasn't Max having a poor start. It was George just having an absolute banger. It was a brilliant start because he relatively they seemed to go backwards, but no, Max did a normal Max start and George just nailed it.
And then he just tried. He sort of drove off into the distance for a bit, and then they had. I think both Mercedes then had a little quieter period in the middle where they were a little bit off the pace with those behind them, but then towards the end they started flying again. Yeah, George did, and Kimi Antonelli did. Overtaking Leclerc as well, which is
decent race for Kimi because he's had a rough season. I mean, you just want to be within a position or two of your teammate if you're not entirely comfortable.
Yeah, but the amount
he's been miles apart.
Amount of time he was behind George is like that was another point I wrote. That's point 6 on the list. Is that it was decent enough from him, but. From Antonelli, but he's so far behind. I don't know how you I don't think I'd be happy.
You can't put that all down to youth because
no,
youth can still be quick. Yes, they make a few more mistakes, but Kimi doesn't seem to be making that many mistakes at the moment. He just doesn't seem to have the pace.
Yeah, it's all about pace, isn't it? I think I made a call a couple of weeks ago, or last week, whenever it was. I think George Russell is the real deal. I think he's just stepping it up. I hope he gets more than a 1-year contract with Mercedes. I don't know if that's been announced by the time we're recording this, but
he deserves it.
I think he's the real deal, and he's got what it takes. Max, I mean, he fought Max off fair and square, didn't he, and drove off into the distance, and we'll see.
He's got. George is going to do some big things as long as he's got a fairly decent car underneath him. I mean, it's an interesting one because Mercedes are both his management team and his employer. Yeah. So, I mean, you'd like to think that gave him a half-decent chance in doing it. But I think he's done more than enough this season to justify a multi-year contract.
Yeah, I agree. That's him then. He won the race. Do you think it is the end of Verstappen's championship hopes? Because he wanted more than second, didn't he? I think had he won and George was second, I think he might have had a chance. But I wouldn't give up if I was him. But it feels, I think he was disappointed at the end. And I think with some of the tracks that are coming up, I'm hearing that McLaren fancy themselves again at some of those tracks.
Their dominance should come back again. Is the understanding with that? I mean, Max is really starting to look at. He needs McLaren to have DNFs, and to have one McLaren DNF would be lucky. Yeah. To have two is almost miraculous. Yeah, unless they take each other out, he just needs to start winding them up.
I mean, between
one another.
That's true of McLaren now as well, isn't it? Because the points have been closed down a little bit more, haven't they? Lando's third, wasn't he?
He was third, yeah.
God, it was really a forgettable race. But he's third. He's closed the gap again a little bit by a few points, and it's less than a win now, isn't it, between them? So I think it's game on, because especially if Max and George are there and thereabouts. I mean, Ferrari seem to have disappeared off the face of the earth, but if George and Max can interfere and get between the two of them, I think that's quite exciting for the end of the year.
It's no longer just between Lando and Piastri. They have to factor in that George and Max are going to be there or thereabouts, stealing points off them, maybe putting a couple of gaps between Lando and Oscar and vice versa. But it'll keep the title race interesting right to the end.
We've also got some fantastic races coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've got this that we've just been through is probably the worst period of the season, the Azerbaijan and Singapore. But and unfortunately, Monza wasn't all that exciting, was it?
No.
But we're coming up. I mean, I think COTA, Circuit of the Americas in the US, is a fantastic track.
It is.
It always throws up good racing, plenty of overtaking possibilities. And then, Mexico's okay as well. And then Brazil, which is obviously one of the absolute
iconic
tracks. And I think Las Vegas is a good track.
I enjoyed it last year. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm well up for that. Yeah.
I think the season is hotting up. I'm ready for a really good race. So I feel like we haven't had one for a few weeks now.
A bit of some close racing, not necessarily some safety cars, a bit of action, a bit of, a cheeky little crash, a cheeky little taking out of one another for both the leaders as well. There's still some sport to play out in the rest of this season.
Absolutely.
And I mean, just look at, you've probably got him on your list, but how furious the Fonz was at the end of the race with Lewis.
He is on my list. He is.
Well, bring him forward, man. That was brilliant. I enjoyed that.
The Fonz, to be fair, lost his cool a bit.
Yeah. But it still matters at what, 44, 45? What is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, it still really matters to him. He still gets his blood up, and that's absolutely fascinating.
You know, the other thing with him is he loses his cool with Lewis Hamilton. He cannot. I don't think he hates him, but he's just. I think personally, I think they get on and have a little chat now and again. But in terms of, Alonso clearly hates Lewis's sporting achievements over the years, and no one makes Alonso lose his cool like Lewis does. It's happened year after year after year right from when they were teammates, and it's never ended. And I just thought he was such a salty pants. He sounded like another crybaby on the grid. Fuming. And his engineer had to calm him down. And he was like, hang on, you might still get 7th.
Well, he did.
And he did. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So after going to cry to the stewards after the end of the race and getting Lewis's 5-second penalty, just so happened to be exactly enough. But yeah, that was hilarious.
The thing is, as well, is if you flick that situation around, there's no way Alonso's thinking, oh no, my brakes are done, I better pull into the pits to be safe. Alonso wouldn't do that, would he?
Yeah,
He'd be ragging it round just like Lewis was.
This is dangerous. We're not gonna. He'd not have it. He'd be literally handbraking it round the corner. He'd be like a rally car, or adjusting his recovery, so it'd be like a handbrake on the back. My
dream scenario. I think they've potentially have they been on the podium once before? But for Max, Lewis, and Alonso to be weekly rivals,
tasty.
That's what we want, isn't it? That's what we all want.
Tasty.
It proper made me laugh, that, because you're right. Like it was his passion and his desire to still win, but it was tinged with a little bit of saltiness towards Lewis. I thought a little bit. Salt, vinegar, mustard, Worcester sauce, absolutely everything. There was no sweetness in that boy's mouth. He was not having it. But yeah. That's entertaining, but yeah, the outrage and the full outrage. But yeah, given, as you exactly say, given from the guy who gives no fucks whatsoever and would have just driven the pants off the car had it been in his situation. Yeah. Before we have a look at the best of the rest. There is a couple that we've not mentioned that I want to cover. Let's have a look at the predictions. These are our predictions this week.
Bang on. Nailed it. Yet again.
And this is the current results. So Whites is streaking ahead. But after this week, I scored 1 point, which moves me up to 15, coming up from behind, thanks to Oscar Piastri getting 4th. I was on course for 3 points at one stage. Oops, what am I doing? I was on course for 3 points at one stage. Leclerc, what's happening? Leclerc was in 5th. Leclerc was in 5th at one point, and if Lando had got into 2nd past Max, I was going to get 3 points, but it didn't pan out like that, and I took 1 point for Piastri. So that is the scores: 19 points for Whites, 15 points for me, up from 14, and Nelly on 8. What on earth are you doing, mate? What is going on there?
See, it doesn't matter how few you score. You just need me to score fewer. And I'm doing that for you, brother. I'm here for you. I'm helping you out all the way.
You've now, as well, done 4 races in a row without scoring a point.
Guess what my predictions are going to be next time?
I'm going to let you go first and just do the opposite next time.
I've got to stick to what I know because it's paying off in a big way right now.
Just try anything else. Just do what? Just try.
I think statistically, if I put 20 names into a hat and pulled them randomly, I'd have probably scored better than what I've scored so far.
I think that's true. I do think that's true.
Wow.
Right. Who are your other shout-outs, best of the rest this week?
I thought Ollie Behrman had a good race. I saw him attack and approach a few people, not get overbearing with it, but actually make the moves as well. So that was really pleasing to see. It was
he qualified 9th, didn't he, and finished 9th. And I think that's in the Haas to do that in the points.
To not go backwards is an absolute result in the Haas, especially given the state of the race. And he was in. He was the last person not to get lapped, which I was delighted about as well. But he's just quietly getting on with it at the moment and doing a decent enough job. I hope that he's deserved a longer stay in F1 because I think he's got a lot to show. He's shown some really good potential with, let's face it, not great equipment. Yeah. And I was really pleased for him.
I was thinking yesterday that the most forgettable driver on the grid this year, apart from Lance Stroll, has been Ocon. Yeah. Like, what's he done this year? I mean, and I think that's almost a credit to Behrman. Like you say, they're not dealing with the best hardware. The fact that
Ocon's had a good few years. He's come through the Toto Wolff school, isn't he? He was very close to him. He can't be a mug in the car, but that's why I think it's particularly impressive with Behrman because he's done well relative to Ocon, and that's not that he's no schmuck in the car. But fair play to him. And
then I think my big pick of the weekend, yet again, everybody's favourite, Carlos Sainz, started at the back of the grid, having been disqualified from qualifying along with his teammate, and then finished in 10th in the points. Yeah, I thought another tremendous performance from Carlos Sainz. He's top notch, isn't he?
Yeah, he knows how to play the numbers game though, and make a result where I mean it's next to impossible to pass on this track. But I always thought he was.
I think he's a better racer than Carlos Sainz. Than Charles Leclerc. When they were both at Ferrari, I thought he was a better racer. And he's won round Singapore before as well, hasn't he? When in that season when Red Bull won everything else.
I think Carlos has got answers when he's racing others, whereas Charles can go a bit bullheaded and a bit gung ho when he's in and around others. Yeah. They both, given the equipment, can get in front and just go 20 seconds up the road and not bother anyone. But I think Carlos is better equipped when he has to race.
Yeah. I think we've stretched the Singapore Grand Prix out as far as it can go, mate.
Squeeze the pips out of this bitch. She be dry.
We've now got a weekend off. Enjoy your little break, mate, because we're going to be busy after that.
We are going to be extremely busy.
The end of our inaugural season.
Not even a full one yet.
Chatting bollocks about Formula One. So
chatting bollocks on the reg since way back.
Yeah. So yeah, please do give us a like, subscribe, comment, all that kind of YouTubey type stuff. And yeah, that's it. We'll see you around Wednesday next week as well. So enjoy your week. We'll catch you later.
See you, everyone. Have a great week.
Bye.